All right, we are back. I apologize for the interruption. Don and I forgive us there. We had a little hang with YouTube being blocked in Don's school, and then he left the Hangout, and I think I removed him from the Hangout. So we had to end that session and start a new one. If you're picking up this uh, at another time, which we know sometimes we see people on YouTube, so that's why there was a break at the end. Technical difficulties, right? So without further ado, I'll turn it back over to Don. We do apologize for the break in the broadcast, especially if you're watching this after it being live and wondering what happened. So Don, let's continue. I'm sorry.
Hey, me too. Live television, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
you can edit it later, but here's live TV. So, we can't cut away to commercial break or anything like that. So we'll try to pick up where we left off. And I believe I was at the point where I was talking about the Britain's Got Talent video, doing a little bit of an exercise. So here's what we do. You'll load up the video, the YouTube video from inside the course, which I'm going to load up here locally here in a second, and have your students on one half create an action side and the other half create a reaction side. And we're going to ask your students to put a mark every time they see Susan Boyle, talking or singing. That'll be our action. Everything else will be our reaction. And our goal will be to see how many action to reaction shots we have.
Hi, what's your name, darling?
My name is Susan Boyle.
Okay, Susan, where are you from?
I am from Blackburn near Bathgate, West Lothian.
It's a big town.
It's a sort of collection of, villages. That's a thing there.
And how old are you, Susan?
I am 47.
Oh, Don, actually, all we're seeing, Don, is there we go.
And that's just one side of me.
Okay, what's the dream?
I'm trying to be a professional singer.
And why hasn't it worked out so far, Susan?
I've never been given the chance before, but here's hoping it will change.
Okay, and who would you like to be as successful as?
Elaine Page.
Elaine
something like
Page.
that.
What are you going to sing tonight?
I'm going to sing I Dreamed a Dream from the Miserables.
Okay. Big song. Yeah? Yes.
I dreamed a dream in time gone by.
You didn't expect that, did you? Did you? No.
When dreams are made and used wasted. The song and song, no wine untasted. Of the tigers come. In their voices soft as thunder. As eternal voice, as eternal faces
Okay, you'll have to watch the rest later. But really like that, and what the students end up finding is that um, there's 3-to-1 ratio of reaction to action. And so the idea is no matter what kind of video you go out to shoot, obviously you have to capture the action, but the reaction is just as important. So look for those opportunities as well. Okay, we are going to try to share our screen here again and get back into the course so that we can look at some more of the intricacies of what we're talking about. And I will not click back out to YouTube from this point forward.
Don, check to see. Sometimes the window, I think, hides behind your current Chrome window.
Okay.
And see if it's if there's another window open that has the screen share available in it.
Yeah, I'm still trying to connect to Reflector right now, Mike. So, boy, if it weren't for bad luck, we wouldn't have any luck right now at all. Yeah, it's just struggling to connect now with Reflector.
Well, we can. I mean, if you want to, I don't want to cut you short, but certainly if we're having troubles, I think we should wrap it up. Unless you have other thoughts, can you share your computer screen?
Yeah, I have. I got it back up here now. So if we give it one more shot, Mike, and then I understand if we need to move along.
Oh no, there we go. Perfect. I just didn't want to put you on the spot, Don. No worries. Here, no worries. We're excited to learn. So please, I'm glad we got it up and running.
All right. So we'll move on through. We were left off at our visual storytelling, and again, there's a Google Docs opportunity to create some reflections. We move into the shooting tips, and this is really where kids will kind of understand how to learn and use their iPad to shoot for video. One of the things that I find is that students want to use their iPad much like they might use their phone to take pictures, and they hold it vertically. And the problem with doing that is that in widescreen video production, that will create, there you go, black bars on either side, and you can't flip a video like you can flip a photo. And so it's going to be really important that we hold the iPad horizontally, and we talk a little bit about that. Once we move on from how to necessarily hold it, the other thing we talk about is that the way to hold it to keep it steady, because we're not going to have a tripod so that we don't really want a shaky shot. Shaky images can be kind of distracting and upsetting to the viewer. And so throughout the course we talk about pinching the lower right and the lower left corners of the iPad with our fingertips. The more we hold any kind of camera device with our hand can get shaky. And so we want to use fingertips. Now, if you only use fingertips, that also then could create an unstable camera. So what we end up wanting to do is using our body as a tripod. And so we pinch our elbows to our chest. We have a little flex in our knee. We're holding the iPad horizontally with our fingertips in left, right corner. And now we can get some really good shots that might be a tad bit shaky, but really will look pretty good. When we do that, well, what are we shooting? Well, we're going to end up interviewing somebody, so that's going to be our A roll, our primary footage. So we don't really call it A roll, we'll call it our interview. When we create an interview, we also want to show B roll, which is supporting video footage, basically showing what the interview is saying. That really brings the visual story to life for our viewers. And so throughout this section of the course, we talk about B roll. And we talk about shooting in different camera angles. To make something visually interesting, there are three main angles. We shoot it wide, we shoot it medium, and we shoot it tight. And by doing that, we can really kind of have an understanding and create a visual picture for our audience of what we're recording. And so I've incorporated a couple of really short, easy video tutorials here that will talk a little bit about, well, what is B-roll? And the different kinds of shots you could get. So for example here, and I'm not going to play this video so we don't crash again, but you have an extreme close-up, which is basically a tight shot on the hands. So you'd have to get really close with your iPad to visualize the hands. Well, if we were to pull back out a little bit from that, more of a medium shot, we might be able to see who our character is at the computer. And if we pull out a little bit further than that, we might see that she's in a class with 20 other kids all typing on a computer. So really painting a visual picture for our audience of what's happening in this particular scene. And so we talk about that in that shooting tips segment. And there's a lot of different ideas to discuss as well, like rule of thirds, using the grid on our iPad to see that we might want to put the main subject in one of the left or right third hashes. So if you look at that tic-tac-toe board, and right where those lines intersect, we'll call that a hash. And by putting somebody's eyes on that hash, or the main subject on one of the left or right hashes, we know through understanding individuals, through paintings and through video, it's visually more interesting to not have something directly in the center. We also get into some of the top 10 video tips for shooting with your iPhone or iPad and your iOS device. So there's some great material. We don't need to recreate the wheel. There's some great material already out on the web and ways to do that. We also have another Google Docs opportunity to write a reflection, but here's our first assignment. Using iMovie, we are going to go ahead and open up the app and record within the app. And I tell my students, just go out and find any kind of subject or person and record each shot for what's a good standard of at least 10 seconds at a wide, medium, and tight distance. So we'll go right ahead and we'll go into the iMovie app. I'm going to start on a fresh page here. In the upper right-hand corner, we have a little plus button. That's how we're going to create a new project. You have the option for movie or trailer. We're going to select movie. You have a lot of different options for themes. We don't want to kind of get involved with themes right now and become distracting, so we're just going to choose simple. And then we're going to select create in the upper right. Once we do that, now we have our iMovie screen, and in the bottom right, you see the little photo icon. We're going to tap on that, and now we're into the movie app. On the right, you see you have your record button. We will just go ahead and record right within the app. And you also see a little time counter right above the record button. We're going to hold that for 10 seconds. We're not going to use all 10 seconds, but we always want to shoot more than we need so that we can edit later. And once I stop out of that, I'm going to use that video. And now you see the video is directly right there within my app and on my timeline, and I can move around and quickly edit that video later or move that clip wherever I may want to later. We'll get into editing in a little bit. But here's a good example for students just to kind of practice, get their feet wet with using the app and recording video within the app. We'll go back into the course. Another really important part of video and understanding visuals is that every video has sound. And that's one area where some people, when they go to shoot video, they kind of dismiss a little bit. And my feeling is sound is just as important to the video as the visual itself. Because without sound, I don't think you have a real video. And so we talk about that in this particular section. We talk about nat sound, the natural sound in our environment, the ambient sound. And there's a difference between noise of just sound in the background that doesn't enhance our story, and natural sound, ambient sound that would enhance it. For example, if you were doing a story on a train, the whistle, the wheels on the track, the conductor, calling people on board, those would all be examples of natural sound. A difference would be if you're going to shoot a video maybe on a busy street and you're talking to an expert about biology and you happen to be outside and now there are sirens and people talking and maybe heavy wind. That's noise. Those are all noises that are not enhancing the story. So we talk about isolating sound and finding sound that will enhance our story. And here's another great example now to go back into the iMovie app, record within the app some objects around our school or wherever we are to find some natural sound. Just last week I had some kids go to a water fountain. They turned on the water fountain. There was a splash on the fountain, the water coming out of the spout, kind of the hum of the machine work, the fountain working. All great examples of just some simple natural sound. And it was another great way now to build upon shooting from wide, medium, and tight like they just did so that they could record the natural sound from a wide distance, a medium distance, and a close distance. Understanding that to capture that good sound, you have to be really close. Now that we're building upon some cinematography and sound, we want to talk about interviewing and what it really means to interview somebody. One of the ideas that I like to discuss with with my students about interviewing is that it's not a question and answer. We don't treat an interview like a question and answer, because if I ask a question, that person I'm asking that question of is expecting an answer that I might, or a kid's going to give an answer that they think I'm expecting. Well, I don't want that. I want to have more of a conversation. And so I talk to my students about having conversation starters, not questions. And so we talk a little bit about the interview process and starting our questions with "tell me about." So rather than the who, what, when, where, why, and how, which will produce facts, which may be important, to get a good sound bite. And the sound bite is basically just a small portion of an interview that we'll end up capturing. Kind of think of it as a quote in a story in a newspaper. It's our quote. It's going to be a small bite of sound that we will ultimately use for our video, because we don't want to record someone who's going on and on and on and on and on and use that for a 10-minute video. We want just the most important information. As we go along through that portion of the curriculum, we also talk about using and recording with the iPad without a microphone and how close you have to get. So now using the good posture and grip of the iPad, using our body as a tripod, we want to get between a foot to 2 feet away from the person that we're interviewing to frame it in a way that still has them nicely on camera. It's not their face just filling the entire screen. But we need to get close to capture that sound of what they're saying if we don't have a microphone. We also talk about being in an environment that is somewhat quiet. And once again, we're getting stuck here a bit on the course as I'm trying to scroll down. We then get into editing, because now that we have some footage of the person that we've interviewed, once we're done interviewing them, we're going to want to go around and capture them doing what they do. Whatever their job is, we want to capture some images of them doing their job. Whatever the story might be, we might want to capture them or offer some using photos, and we can use photos very easily within the iMovie app as well. So maybe they have some images that they can share with us that could shed some more light on the subject that they are discussing. And so we want to capture then some B-roll of our person working. We have the interview of our person. Maybe capture some photos or have them give us some photos or even take some photos with our iPad to save in our camera roll, because iMovie can access photos very easily from our camera roll. We now have a lot of footage we can put together and figure out, how am I going to edit all of this? Well, there's a great there's a lot of videos on YouTube that you can find on how to edit. And in the course, I offer some of the best ones that I think are available. Once we're done with that portion of learning how to edit, and there's a short video, I used it. It took me about 15 minutes to go through the video, and I had not edited a news package in this manner on my iPad in iMovie, and I watched it about a 15-minute video, and I fumbled my way through it a little bit, and it was actually pretty easy. And so I include that video within the course, and then we want to get into the actual project itself. And so we're going to try one more time to get back into this app. Otherwise, we'll just see if we can pull up the assignment on my computer, because now we're going to get down into the nuts and bolts of what it is that we want to do. We've had a lot of different practice shooting and interviewing our expert. We've had some experience now in shooting some different cinematography of B-roll. We understand the importance of sound. And now we want to complete the project. Before we can get into that, though, there's a couple different things. There's a news package planning sheet. So I offer that. Now, this is a good PDF that you can use where you can kind of title the story, discuss what your topic is going to be about, really plan the different pieces of information for your research, what you think the story will have in its beginning, middle, and an end. Another great idea, though, also is to create a storyboard. Now, a storyboard is a visual image that will kind of dictate or direct the type of shots that you're going to want to get. And a great app for that is Paper by 53. It's just a sketch pad where you can basically use a stylus or your finger to kind of draw out the different areas that you might feel that you're going to go to, whether you're going to go to a park or whether you're going to go to an engineering center, or whether you're going to go to a newsroom, wherever you're going to go to a classroom, you can draw out a wide shot of the classroom, and then you can kind of visualize, well, if I have a wide shot of the classroom and 20 students in it, I need to split that class in half for my medium shots. Let me just draw the teacher and a few students. And then I'm going to need a tight shot in that room, so my third shot will be, let me just kind of draw visually. Yeah, okay, I'm going to need a tight shot of their projection screen, because that's what they're talking about. So a good video starts in the planning stages. And so it's going to be really important that your students spend some time on understanding who their expert will be, the types of shots they want to get, the types of conversation starters they're going to use, and really have all of that planned out before they go out and shoot their video. Once they have a good plan in place, we go right to the project. And we go to the Mobile Journalism Project, where we're going to plan, research, write, shoot, and edit, and publish a 1 to 3 minute mobile news journalism package. And it gets really into the nuts and bolts of everything that we just talked about throughout the entire process, and give you the specifics of the project. And that's kind of fallen apart here again, so I'm going to back out of that, but you can see that on the site. The last piece of this is to, once it's all said and done, you want to publish it to the web. So there'll be a great link on there talking about how you can send your videos directly out from iMovie to YouTube or Vimeo using one of those apps, and having one of those apps on your site. I should also mention that YouTube and Vimeo can be excellent apps on your iPad as video schools. Each offers different types of music, different types of video production skills that if you just kind of go on there and pop into the Vimeo Video School, you can learn even more about cinematography and sound and composition of shots. At the very end of this, it's, I think, really important to reflect upon the process that they took. I'll have kids create Google Docs or find a WordPress app or a Weebly blog app and create a blog. And just tell me about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And boy, would I have a lot of good, bad, and ugly to talk about today as I reflected upon this particular video. But the important thing to understand, and maybe we've learned a lesson in here with this today with some of the failure that we've had, is that even if the students don't successfully pull off the most beautiful video that CNN is going to want to put on their nightly news, it's okay, because the reality is this entire process of creating a video takes students through research, takes them through writing, takes them out of their comfort zone by having to talk to people they will not know, teaches them better ways to use the device that's in their hand, and really makes them critically think about the media that is surrounding them, and then ultimately the media and the messages that they create. And even if it's an epic fail, the process of and the lessons that they've learned along the way, I think will be invaluable, and hopefully they'll have some kind of tangible result to say, yeah, I really learned a lot about this lesson, and I learned a little bit about media production as well. So that's my story, Mike, and through all the different trials we've had here today, I really appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely, Don. I'm sorry we had some technical difficulties early on, but your message is great. Obviously, you'll have full access to your resources online. We'll link to your contact information and the course so they can get to it on their iPad and hopefully have some success navigating through all that. So, and I'm sure you'll have, if you don't, we'll have access to your YouTube channel and the like so that we can look at maybe some of those examples, and when people have some more time to go through this and certainly connect with you and ask questions and so on. So I think that's about it for today. Thanks again, Don, and everybody out there. I apologize for the two-part episode here, but no worries. Some great stuff. Thanks again, Don, for being on, and we will talk to everybody next month. We're going to have another expert on to talk about something related to all the things we like to do here on Appetite. Have a great day.